Woo! What's going on, guys? Orange Forum coming at you guys with another video. And today I'm doing, obviously, Lions training camp again, day 7, which was yesterday. I couldn't get around to doing the video. I was having some technical difficulties over here on my side, and I couldn't get things going. So I had to wait a day. So I'm probably going to do a double dip today, day 7 from yesterday, and then day 8 from today. That's been going on. That's been there's been some reports going on early about day 8 already, and I'll try to get to that as fast as I can. But day 7 was a lighter day, but some stuff to get into as well. But thanks a lot to guys like John Macaron, Jeremy Reisman, Tim Twentyman, Jeff Risden, Justin Rogers, Eric Schlitt, all the go-to guys that I go to. Follow those guys on Twitter, follow them on some social media outlets, and I get their info and I try to put it on my channel, but they get all the credit, man. Those guys do the work. So some participation news and some signings going on with the Lions. Obviously Kaminsky out, the torn MCL. Hopefully he can come back later on in the year, around the end of the season. Or playoffs. DJ Reader out, obviously, in the pup still. Quad won't be ready for a while. Offensive guard rookie Christian Mahogany still got that illness on the NFI list, non-football injury. And then they did put Natane Mutai on the IR as well, a shoulder, a depth guy who was actually playing really well during practice, and that could be a big loss for them because we need all the depth we can get on that O-line. Then Lions did sign defensive lineman Pat O'Connor. If that name sounds familiar to you, it should. We drafted him in the 7th round back in 2016, 2017, whatever it was. Bob Quinn, I think, drafted him out of Eastern Michigan, EMU. I don't think he even made the squad. If he did, I don't remember, but he's played with the Buccaneers for most of his career, a couple other teams. And then offensive lineman Jake Burton, who was a UFL guy. He's played with the New York Giants in the past too. So some depth guys, body guys for camp. There's just camp guys right now. Jake Burton. Hopefully, man can get some reps in and be some depth, but who knows? Back practicing as well. Wide receiver Jalon Calhoun. He's back. Don't know what was wrong with him. Maybe he tweaked something, needed a rest, but he is back. And his safety, CJ Moore, was back to practicing. Resting. It was a light day, so there was some rest, especially with the vet guys: Taylor Decker, Ragnow, Zeitler, and running back Zonovan Knight too. Don't know about what his injury is, but that's the second day in a row for Zonovan Knight as well too. So at least 3 guys going out with rest, with the rest day, with the older old lineman Taylor Decker being like 30, Ragnow not old but 27, 28 years old without injuries, and then Zeitler's like 33, 34. So those guys are going to get some rest. Now let's get to the next page. What else do we got, man? You got lots of old linemen out, so they kind of flip-flopped the line. Michael Neese at center, Coyote Wasika, and Ike Boddicker at guard, Skipper right tackle, and then Sewell was at left tackle, so they switched that around. Second team was Colby Sorslow at right tackle, Connor Galvin and Giovanni Manu were kind of flip-flopping between left tackle, and then Kingster Egwakin and Duke Clemens, Brian Hudson, all rotating through the 3 interior spots, center and both right and left guard. Not much going on there, just guys getting rest, so flip flopping the line a little bit. So it was a lighter practice, so they're focusing on the mental aspect of that practice and of actual game time. And then the D line, it was Davenport, Broderick Martin, Levi Ruzarike, and Pascal. Davenport and Pascal as the edges, and Martin and L.O. Levi on Ruzarike as the interior. Betts was getting his work. There's stuff on Betts going on, like right now that the reports are that the workload needs to be dialed back a little bit on Matthew Betts. I've watched a lot of Matthew Betts football, me being Canadian. Me watching some of the Canadian Football League, the CFL. I'm not a huge fan of the CFL. There's some good players. It's a little bit harder for me to get into any other league other than the NFL. I watch it. Don't get me wrong, and I've seen Betts play a lot of ball, and he's a good player. He is. He's 28, 29 years old. He's had a couple stints, or one for sure that I remember at the NFL level. Him trying to be a Bear on his rookie season, and he made it to the final cuts. But he's been a star in the CFL for the last couple years now. Last year had like 18 sacks. He's a little bit of a one-trick pony, but he's a really good athlete. So he's a newcomer. So Campbell, he wants to dial it back a little bit with this guy at the linebacker spot, because there's a lot of responsibilities for the Sam linebacker role. It's a complex position. It's not just it's mainly a rushing kind of type player to the quarterback, but it's got a little more to it. It's not just pin your ears back and go. You got to be able to drop back in coverage. You got to be able to play the run. You got to be able to do a little bit of things that that you're not used to doing, and it's kind of a new position for him. So it's all about getting his confidence back. They love his athleticism. He's playing a little bit slower than they'd like. That's a quote from Campbell. So you can look at this like one of two ways. You can think he's on the bubble, which he could be, and if you have that opinion of him, that's fine. When you got to scale something back for a player, and you're kind of a guy that just got brought in, as a kind of a kick the tires type of situation, which this is. When he got brought in over here, there was no guarantee he was going to be a lock for the 53-man roster. There was no guarantee. So we can look at it both ways. Like I said, you can look at it as in he's got a foot out the door now, or they're just trying to just try some new things with him, just get his confidence back. Like Campbell said, that you can believe that or not. It doesn't really mean anything to me. But I kind of look at it as a little bit, he might be in a little bit trouble for this roster. That's all I'm really saying. He could be a practice squad guy. He could be something like that. And if he's a practice squad guy, he could choose just to leave and go back to the CFL if he wants to. I think a lot of these guys have options to do stuff like that. But he needs to be better. But they're going to take some off his plate, and hopefully he can return to form and be the player that they want him to be. But it's a harder role than you guys think, man. Sam linebacker. It's not just pin your ears back and get to the quarterback. And then Antoine Green, could he be the odd man out too as well? There's some, Darius Fountain, Khalif Raymond, Caden Davis, and even Maurice Alexander. They've been really stacking up good practices. Green needs to do the same, but really hasn't grasped that just yet. So he's a guy that, is he a bubble guy? Could they get rid of him? He was only a 7th round pick last year. He's expendable. He is expendable, but he's got some what's it called? He's got some skill. He put up some decent numbers in college, but right now he's looking to be the odd man out. Now some quick hitters, and there wasn't really a lot. Man, it's going to be a quicker video than I thought. Brian Banch did have a really nice pass breakup on Antoine Green. More of a walkthrough, like we said, but it's really nice seeing Branch out there getting acclimated to the season, because he's still kind of on the mend, and he's not a full go. He's practicing in all his all the pads, but he's still doing some walkthroughs, and he's still kind of being held back when they go full bore. And then Hooker was out there working on tempo with the offense, which is good to see. He did have a ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, but even Ben Johnson coming out saying that he could tell that he'd put a lot of work into spring, and then coming into summer, he's like, you can tell he worked on a lot of things. He's gotten better. We like where he's at right now. He's progressing. He's had a couple bad practices, had a couple good practices, but Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of this team, really likes where he's at right now. So, I've never said that Hooker is not going to win that quarterback 2 spot. I still believe he does, but I do think it's a problem if he doesn't. And Sudfeld's playing well. Sudfeld's actually balling. And I've never thought I'd ever say anything like that. But he's really playing really well in his I think it was his third year as a Detroit Lion. So, take that with a grain of salt too. But Hooker needs to be better, and it's good that he's working with the tempo. And then the officials are in the building. The referees, they're preparing for the Giants. We do play the Giants in joint practice next week, I believe. I think it's Monday. So the Giants are in there probably with team meetings, telling teams, telling Campbell, telling whoever who needs to hear it on what they expect from these joint practices. Because they're basically like scrimmages. That's why the referees are there. They're basically like scrimmages, and that's another reason why Campbell, this came out too, that's another reason why Campbell doesn't want to play his starters, which is great. I argued with people about this last year when Campbell came out and said, I'm not playing Goff, I'm not playing St. Brown, I'm not playing Hutch. You're not seeing anybody out there you're not seeing Decker, you're not seeing Sewell, Ragnall. You're not going to see those guys. Preseason is for bubble players. I've always thought it was. I love football, but I can't stand preseason because injuries. Now that they're taking games away, preseason is good. I would like them to take it away completely, but the football guy in me wants to watch football. So, but they need to be really careful with this, and and Campbell has, and Campbell and his staff have, and you're not going to see any guys worth anything out there playing preseason football, and I think that's a smart move by Campbell. What else were we at? Darius Fountain. The more talk on Darius Fountain, man, he's still getting starter reps over Antoine Green, and even DPJ is getting starter reps too over Green. So, like I said, Green is kind of, man, right now he's a little bit of the odd man out. We'll see what happens. And then tight end Shane Zylstra, he's getting reps over Mitchell. Tight end 1 and tight end 2 are locks with Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. We already know this. But I told you guys, and it's starting to come out. Zylstra is getting a lot of play right now. You're hearing a lot about him making plays in practice. He did this last year too, though. Zylstra made a lot of plays in practice, and they still kept Mitchell. As that tight end 3. Mitchell is still at the time tight end 3, but it's slowly starting to be taken away from him as Zylstra. If you remember Zylstra, I can't remember what college you went to. It was a smaller school. Right, man, I should have wrote it down, but he put up monster numbers as a wide receiver. So he's got that ability. His blocking, is a little bit to be desired, but his receiving skills are excellent. He's a bigger wide receiver, and he's playing tight end here, man. But I told you guys to watch out for this guy. Zylstra could steal that game, that position away from Mitchell. And then this is it, guys. The defense cycled through their base and their nickel looks, and Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph were the starters at safety. So something to kind of to keep an eye on, and then Melifano was that third safety coming in and out. I do believe that Branch gets moved to safety. I just don't think it'll be permanent. I could be wrong, because I think they're going to want to keep this guy Brian Branch in games no matter what. If they have to go in some certain sets like base, nickel, whatever they got to do, where they got to keep less safeties, you'll see Branch move back to nickel. They're not taking Branch off the field unless he's banged up, unless he's hurt. So this, we have a little bit more depth at the safety position, I believe, with Branch being added to that mix. Because I like guys like Brandon Joseph as well too. So there could be a couple guys, being switched in and out here, and I think it's a good look. So I'm happy for that. Happy for Brian Branch. He's Weapon X, man. He's Weapon X. They're going to be using him all over the field. Love it. So that's it, guys. A shorter video, which is okay. I'll try to get to day eight as soon as I can. But I got some things to do as well too. So thanks a lot, guys. That's day 7 in the books. Sorry about the delay. I appreciate it. Don't forget the subscribe button at the bottom right. Don't forget the notification bell up top. Just give it a whack. And don't forget to like, comment, share this out. Appreciate it, guys. One Pride, Detroit versus everybody. Let's go, baby. Detroit. Boom.